Ahmed, you're working on your holiday day? Ahmed Maher. Well done, Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Alfred. How are you?
Wallah, you are a brave young man, Yahi. Very proud of your ethical approach.
Thank you, Mr. Alfred. I hope you are fine. Mr. Abdulaziz, Mr. Muhammad, how are you? Mr. Abdul Manan. Welcome, Dr. Tariq.
Hello, Mr. Ahmed, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you, Mr. Tariq?
I'm fine, thank you. And how is everyone? Mr. Alfred, Mr. Mohammed, Mr. Abdulaziz, how are you today?
We're all fine, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on your holiday.
Thank you for you and for all the colleagues or expert with us who find this time and place and contribution to be available in this online session. Anyway, thank you. I didn't attend the conversation between you and Mr. Ahmed. Is that anything you need to be me to be updated with? Okay. I will share with you the session for in case anyone did not attend this lecture in the last 2 weeks. So just only a quick revision for all we have already done so far regarding to the 10 session and within 2 weeks. So the last session was the ethical and independence in the digital age. And we will share with you all the sessions that we have already explained or discussed with you in the last 2 weeks. Yes. Now the decision for perfect and high quality service delivered by audit office, we need to highlight an important thing. One of the most important solutions for ethical and self-prepared for the next challenge of post-COVID-19, the word agile and more ethical, and then artificial and intelligence or the emotional intelligence skills. About the agility of doing the work, we need to highlight one of the most important issues, which is the something regarding to the it's an approach. We need to achieve some goal, and this is an approach for visual, changeable, challengeable, and more adaptable digital environment for the future time. So we need to take into consideration it's an individual and interaction, whether the process is processed online or remotely or offline or off-site. And it's the agility is considered as a tool of working software over the comprehensive documentation shared through the online and cloud issues. One of the most important parts here is the customer collaboration and knowledge and knowing the customer very well in this remotely working ecosystem. We have to be aware of all the historical industry and historical issues regarding to the customer industry, partners, and all of those issues. Responding to the change and the following plan, and you have to be more vision plan driven, not plan driven only. So plan-driven approach will let you work reactively to the change. However, we need to convert and make a transition of a conceptual approach that we have already handled in order to take the risk into the consideration to be more visionary driven auditor. Take the risk into consideration, what is the expected risk that will help us to be more proactive and not reactive, but more proactive to the changeable issues in the future. And that will consider as a risk-based approach. So another word after the agility, you need to be more risk reinventor, technology enabler, to the change for the change for the future. So the agility will give you the flexibility, quicker adaptation to the future, and more reactive. The risk-based approach will be more visionary driven by the future plan. That will help you expect and direct your effort in order to catch all the issues regarding to the going concern, materiality, misstatement, reporting problem, or digital reporting problem, digital evidence collection, forensic skills, data gathering, data collection, all the information regarding to knowing the customer, because you are now responsible for reporting not only for any deviation for the financial analysis and financial statement, but you need to be more proactive regarding to the further suspicious transaction reporter for the anti-money laundering and for the all type of financial fraud and analysis. That will lead us to talk about what we have already mentioned carefully, which is the fraud agility and fraud approach for the future. The fraud auditing for the future issues. So it's a methodology, it's an approach, it's a new conceptual framework. Take into consideration risk-based approach and agility, and also adaptability for the future time. The transition for the internal auditing issues will take into consideration so far all the agility principles, all the agility approach to the future issues. Ethics and trust in digital age. We talked about these issues yesterday, and we actually highlighted more important points regarding to the how can we use this independency and agility and the all the issues regarding to the integrity, professionalism, competencies, and the skills for the future issues in digital age. Digital age and transformational for a new business model for auditing in audit office. We actually face a new sense of urgency, because the agility and the digitalization and the digital transformation, digital technology, it's something not a new issue or currently new. It is something has been discovered 10 years ago, from more than once we discovered the internet and the World Wide Web. we discovered how important the online shopping on e-commerce and digital communication. I think the Zoom and Teams and Google Meet is available from before the COVID-19, but the COVID-19 created the sense of urgency. And this sense of urgency create the approach, the new approach, and create the new methodology that you need to use, create the visionary acceptable issues, more adaptability, more agility, more integrity. The concept of risk has been reinvented, and we need to reschedule the risk scenarios issues to be more data-driven, visionary-driven, rather than plan-driven. Plan-driven, we put the plan in a particular time and then we apply it in a further time where some constant variable will be more dynamic in the future time. So we have to respond to the change through changing our approach as a reactively response to the external environment. However, now we need to take into consideration a lots of issues regarding to being more quicker, faster, flexible, and timely change. Take into consideration the time for every planning approach that we need to take, and that will not able to be accomplished unless you have to take change the traditional business model to be a new business model in your audit office, which take into consideration not the risk-based approach only, but the agility and adaptability to the digital change. Otherwise, the professional accountant and the professional auditor will not find a new professional place and professionalism in the future because of the trust and the consciousness of the future will change the way people or external investor will change their view against the report issued by the external auditors. So we need to find a new life extension for this job in the future. So the future will need, in addition to the technological issues and capabilities, around the skill set that demonstrate key questions or quotients for success in areas such as experience, intelligence, creativity, digital skills, emotional intelligence, and a new vision. We have to create our new vision. We have to be a visionary leader, and at the heart, see the heart of these lies, the ethical quotient. It's very important to highlight this statement. We talk about those change in the internal and external auditors, and the notable changes from the old bankruptcy law. The bankruptcy risk has been happening in last 10 years. In the last 10 years, we found or we witnessed more than 2 or 3 financial crises in 2008, 2012, and in 2016 for oil and gas price reduction, and that continued to 2018. And all of those financial crises affect a lot of companies, especially some vulnerability companies based in the industry. It's more vulnerable for bankruptcy issues, especially the real estate and property industry. They face lots of bankruptcy based on the way this type of industries recognize their revenues, and that will affect the cash flow and returns recognition, and then create those financial difficulties for short-term payment, affect the liquidity power, and then bankruptcy issues is the final financial diseases for this type of companies. Maybe this bankruptcy happened because of how rough as the financial crisis are in this case, but most of them coming because of the mismanagement of spending and cash flow and liquidity power for these companies, which affect the credibility and credit risk in the future time. And that will lead them to the bankruptcy issues. In the UAE, we have lots of regulatory environment regarding to the bankruptcy law and companies and establishment under the free zone, except the DIFC and the ADGM, which is suffering from another or having another laws and regulation. But this bankruptcy law in the UAE create the sense of protection from any further change for the business or change the company by liquidizing their assets. So this is more protection for this company and the national industry and national economic investment in the country. So we need to avoid any bad reputation regarding to the companies with increasing the level of bankruptcy in countries. So the majority of the governmental sector and government in the whole of the world, we found that there is a lot of support and assessment coming from the governmental sector in order to protect the cash flow and liquidity power for companies during and after the financial crisis happened for many reasons, for pandemic or medical pandemic reason, or from any other financial banking institution crisis or whatever. But at the end of the day, we can say that the governmental responsibility increased for their companies or economic performance and sustainability for the current companies during and after all of those type of bankruptcy issues. It's very important to be highlighted. Recently, we found that in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they give a support and delaying for leasing payment series and installment, and also for delaying, asking for extended the residency and termination for the employabilities regarding to this issue, because this is a short-term payment and that will affect the cash flow power and liquidity power, which affect directly the bankruptcy level. UAE bankruptcy law is viewed as an improvement over the prior insolvency law, which is more tough regarding to the bankruptcy. They consider all the bankruptcy trial is considering as the way of acting like another type or alternative type of fraud. They take the bankruptcy in order to gaining more time to create or to complete their bankruptcy scenario. But in this case, we consider this bankruptcy in a positive side. So maybe the external factor, political, economic, and social, culture, and technology change for the business affect the short-term payment for liabilities, and that will lead the company to file a complaint or file a bankruptcy application for the court, asking for more protection from creditors. This is the positive side. However, the negative side is using the bankruptcy not to reschedule the economic and credit payment, but to take a breath in order to complete another scenario for fraud and financial crimes. As we said, that all of those changes in risk-based approach, and agility, and adaptability, and lean and agile, all of those changes and happened not because of the change of digital age, not because of the COVID-19 itself, but because of the circumstances which is affected by the COVID-19, which is the fluctuation and long-term expectation for the future, and it's called a new norm. This new norm could continue more than we could expect in 2021 or 2023. It may continue to the fourth quarter for 2025. In case we did not have an absolute solution to kill or to contain completely this type of virus or any transformed virus. So the problem now is not COVID-19. COVID-19 has been transformed to another COVID with another names. But we have we have laid our business in more future normality, which affect the way we act, the way we take prevention, any other prevention situation, mobility and movability is more restriction to the change, the more accepted issues that we need to accept that there is a new norm for a long-term growth time with a mute recovery. So we still working in uncertainty issues, and that's happened and accepted by another companies. And this is what happened. And now here, the virus in different parts of the world will take another transformation and another vision, a new version for this type of virus. It's called COVID-19, but this is the starting point for COVID-19. However, there is a lot of changes happened in Brazil, UK, India, and different parts of the world. Discovering the vaccination is very important to make a resilience, but you have to have your reimagination, and this is the third word. Reimagination, coming after risk-based approach, coming after changing your traditional way for your business model to run your office from reacting, from taking into consideration the risk and be a risk-driven approach handler, to be more agile, faster, flexible, adaptable to the change of any type of change, which is something regarding to the digital or non-digital changes. Maybe the change in the further time will be in the new regulation. So you have to create your own reimagination approach. How can you see your place in the current, in the future issues? How can you use your own competitive advantages? What's your own competitive advantages? Reimagination is the process of moving from red ocean strategy to create your own blue ocean strategy. How can you move your business to be in a blue ocean where you can create your own profit, margin of profit based on your own creativity and your own issues and approaches. I will share with you just only some one video talking about this type of approaches. If you could spend just only 3 minutes for this video, could explain where we should be and how can we make a reimagination for the future place, about the future issues by the one who discovered the concept of blue ocean strategy. I will share with you now the
The volume is down, Dr. Ahmed. We cannot hear.
Okay, you can't hear. Mr.
Yeah.
Alf? Yes, okay. Okay.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you. But you can see the video, you can see it, but we did not have any possibility to hear what's
Yes, you
going
can see it.
on. Okay. Can you hear it now, please? Can you confirm that you hear it now?
Thank you, Dr. Tariq. It's better now.
You can see it. And you can hear it. Okay, so as she said in the last sentence here is how can we achieve the differentiation and low cost in the same diagram, in the same approach, and that will not able to happen unless we have a new reimagination for our strategy. We have to achieve the differentiation, which is something innovative and or innovative and creative for the future, and could able to search for alternative way of running our job, and with the low cost, which is the agility, and also take into consideration that you are always in risk regarding to the knowing the customer, and you have to compete in expectation regarding to suspicious transaction in the future, because no, this is, you are not playing on one role. You are not acting in one role. You act like a policeman and like an auditor who have a traditional and technical issues regarding to the going concern and data analysis and financial statement analysis and evaluation, and also provide a more efficient or adaptable report for the company and the client. And on the other hand, you have to be aware of any suspicious transaction, and you are required, legally required, to apply for any report for any suspicious transaction regarding to the anti-money laundering compliance and any other financial fraud crimes. So it's you play a multidisciplinary role. So this is not only you need to move from red ocean to be in a blue ocean for low cost and differentiation, but also you need to take into consideration that you have a legality role or acting role regarding to the government, and also take into consideration environmental issue for sustainable reporting and legality issues. Before we do that, we have to concentrate on some issues regarding to the possibility for enhancing our own reimagination, and that will create your new reform, which be clear about how the environment in your business, regulatory environment, role of government, and could evolve. The IAAS, BIAASB shed the light on the data analytics and science of data analytics in some traditional way, which is risk assessment, analytical procedures, and substantive processing and testing of control for achieving monitoring or continuous monitoring and transformation for your own job. There is a lots of tools you have to apply it. Excel, macro, idea, and Python. Python for Python and R for future artificial intelligence, which is the rules-based function, the functionality and calculation, web scrapping, internal control testing. RPA, the vendor tools such as Unipath and Blue Prism, which is something important for data exploring and data analysis for the future issues. The RPA, which is the robotic process automation, the new auditing task or automation tools for audit. And that will describe what are the current and the future issues based on the new normality. As you can see here, there is issues called decentralization. The decentralization, the way we act in this world in terms of enhancing our acceptance for not centralized digital approach we have. The decentralization create the sense for or the digital ecosystem create the approach for decentralization. What is the decentralization is and the comparison, and how can we compare it with the centralized ecosystem? The centralized ecosystem, the companies in this centralized ecosystem work as a brokers, connected all together with one identity or one major central body which separate, forcing them to work through itself. So there is a central dynamics center ecosystem which run the whole companies or brokers. This is the structure. However, when it's come to the decentralized digital ecosystem, it is something regarding to work as an orchestrator company, connecting multiple partners, having multiple skills, and encourage them to work differently within one another. So there is no central communities or central body who handle the effect of all of those companies, because each company work as an architectures, and this orchestrator have a lots of partner in one dimension and multiple skills to deal with a different type of industry, different type of experience, and different type of alternative way of running auditing task. And this decentralized approach is the approach that will create the new ethics, the new digital age in the future time. And that's how can the blockchain work in the auditing industry or cryptocurrency work. So we can work as an orchestrator company which connect all of those partners together, where we can create our own protocol, which is using the technology of cryptography to create, for example, your crypto coins, and this crypto coins could help you create your own partner together in one blockchain. Why it's used? In terms of centralized ecosystem, the partners are coordinated by the brokers company to capture value, which primarily for the brokers. However, in the decentralized digital ecosystem, the partners are encouraged to combine their drivers resource to create value. Quicker, flexible, and low cost. The word quicker, flexible, adaptable, and low cost, this is another definition, or we can remove those terminology and symptoms or concept and put one word, which is agility. So the decentralization, which is created by the new digital issues, make the company work as an orchestrate and then more agile, which is more flexible, more quicker, more adaptable, and create differentiation in low cost. This is the blue ocean strategy. When to use it? Decentralize it. It's something important to use. The centralized ecosystem used when industry boundaries are stable. Before COVID-19, we can create our planned based-oriented strategy. We depend on plan or planning or strategic planning. However, in the decentralized, created by the sense of urgency, when industry boundaries are dynamic, more shifting. There is no risk approach. There is uncertainty environment for the future. We did not know what's happening tomorrow. How can we create? How can we adapt in the new norm? So we need this decentralized ecosystem. And recently, if you follow all of those approaches, we found that from academic point of view, all the changes happen because of the change of certainty or uncertainty issues. Like, for example, this article talking about auditing in times of social distance, the impact and the effect of post-COVID-19 on auditing quality. This paper has been published in August 2020, and they highlight a lots of issues of the post-COVID-19 and agility, also the orchestrate company, auditing company. They work to find their own space through the imagination or reimagination, creating all of those fees and discount rate for the new post-COVID-19. Your fees has been changed. or have been changed. COVID-19 going concern assessment. There's a lot of change regarding to the going concern. What you have already done before COVID-19, PwC and KPMG 2020 highlighted that there is a lots of issues regarding to going concern assessment, and their working documentation should show evidence of such skepticism, which is taken into consideration the decentralized uncertainty issues. Another issue regarding to the procedures. There is a lot of changes as well there regarding to the procedures and the human capital of post-COVID-19. So based on that, there is a lot of changes and challenges has been made recently in auditing procedures based on the sense of urgency which create the decentralization issues. This decentralization issues has been discovered for lots of years, 1 decade, maybe more than 10 years now. We are talking about digitization. If you could follow the articles published in 2009, 2008, 2007, they start talking about, instead of technology, they talk about digital technology or digitization or digitalization ecosystem. However, the sense of urgency of post-COVID-19 made all of those conceptual models come to the true or carried out because of we did not found any restriction to follow all of those digitization. So the difference between this pandemic and the pandemic happened in 1920, which is the Spanish influenza, we discovered here, we prepare 10 years before post-COVID-19 to be a post or a COVID-full, not COVID-less. We became more COVID-full regarding to the decentralization, digital ecosystem and environment for any type of business. The relationship, maintain arm's length relationship and attract a partner via traditional outreach method. Traditional outreach method for maintaining arm's length. In decentralization, forge cooperative and supportive relationship and attract new partner with bad singles. This is the new normality issues. This is how kind of business could be run in the future time. We did not create something new. The word new norm has been discovered from a long time ago, 10 years, but we make it as a new concept, a new methodology, new acting issues once the COVID-19 start to come to the play. So we can find that there is a going concern, timelines, reporting issues. How can we start to raise an issue regarding to how should the auditor respond to the management when there is inability or inavailability to access, or there is no accessibility of going concern during the continuous uncertainty or continued uncertainty. What we should do as an impact of auditor assessment of companies' internal control to address the risk based on the auditors. What should be considered to focus on following areas and beside others? So what we should do in terms of there is a refusal from the government or the companies or the management from being physically exist during one of the most important auditing procedures, which is related to the inventory count committees, for example, or collecting more documentation regarding to the confirmation of assets and repairment. Audit evidence, there's a lot of limited availability and delaying for management response, challenging communication during the post-COVID-19 and accepting more safety and more safer digital communication to handle the online communication during and after the post-COVID-19. What is the most acceptable digital communication through sharing more important documentation, challenges in accessing and the communication with third parties and other auditors. So all of those auditing evidence having a lot of challenges. And there is some affected area which affected the acceptance, take of a new audit engagement, what we should do, what we have to make sure about. Beside all the points which we need to attract, we need to shed some light on, which are the compliance issues regarding to the anti-money laundering program in the future time. Communication with the third challenges and auditing evidence, including audit confirmation, has been challenging a lot, and collecting more physical verification is required. But during the critical time, it will be more difficult or absolutely difficult to collect all of those. Going concern concept, we expect gaining current uncertainty and variability that more companies and auditors may need to consider reporting on material uncertainty, where they should draw on available facts and circumstances. So we have to report on the material uncertainty, and we have to make the reinvestment or reinvestment of future risk or type of future risk in this materiality issue. Going concern as well through the liquidity platform and uncertainty. I could expect that the further time will reveal the curtain on how important calculating or making sure or verifying the going concern approach. They will reveal a lot of issues, because so many companies nowadays, they themselves, they're not able to evaluate their own going concern assumption. They consider that optimistically they can compete, but sometimes some stability variable could affect the dynamic approach, dynamic thinking approach for the future, may affect their own expectation. They didn't reinvent the risk effectively, and they didn't have a scenario for risk assessment effectively to see the future in reality, rather than the theoretical approach. So going concern will reveal a lot of pointfuls or outcomes in the future time. But how can we predict all the difficulties and the verification issues regarding to the going concern and materiality in the future time? We have to reinvest the risk. This is the approach. We have to be more faster than the change in order to predict, not to react. We have to be more lean and agile, taking the risk-based approach as a new approach for our new business model in order to react effectively regarding to the future. And then we can create a great name with a higher quality service provider and auditing service quality delivered. And also we have to have our own competitive advantages. This, the only way to reimagine how can we move from the red ocean that we have now in uncertainty, risk assessment, reactivity, and continuous monitoring issues, to be more attractive with higher differentiation, with low cost, taking into consideration all the compliance and competent and compliance role that we have to achieve, and then our name in the market will be more competitive, not only in the Emirati market, but internationally as well. And then we talk about around nearly the first week, talking about the anti-money laundering, what type of crime, what the stages of this anti-money laundering highlighted. One of the most important placement, the placement stages of anti-money laundering is the most important part in this crime. That's why we have more than 36 indicators for suspicious transaction has been alerted by the international body and local in the Ministry of Economy. And also, if we did not able to report this financial crime indicators, and if we did not create our own file of anti-money laundering compliance as a new file, we have to prepare, because at any time something wrong, because we are now dealing with such a turbulent environment. At any time we'll be questioned about where is your compliance of this type of crime, because the intelligence way of increasing the fraud scenario has been faster than the way we monitor or continuously monitor those type of crimes. Most of the time, 5% of the Florida Center more intelligent than the culture for defense and the culture for forensic issues. So we have to be aware. Sometimes we found a problem in anti-money laundering regarding to our customer, and that will prepare. We have to prepare for any unexpected, to be more expected for the future. We need to prepare our own profile, containing all the risk assessment, what type of risk, how can we prove that we study the customer and we know the customer effectively and efficiently through internal and external way, through online and offline data analysis, through using robotic process automation. So we washed our hand at this time from any cybercrime coming from the customer, or caused by the customer partner, or caused by the customer a country of origin or partner, or anything regarding to this type of customer. We have to be sure and be prepared for any future unexpected crime coming from our customers. So this is another crime has been highlighted, and I think a majority of auditors they need to take into consideration all of those procedures to protect yourself. So it's not about how can you deliver your work effectively and in a high quality delivering issues, but you have to be aware of the compliance profile. Layering, which is the separate the criminal procedures from source through layering of a transaction, often involved multiple participants and entities like shell corporation, cross-border transaction. More layering will create more difficulties to track, to be more visible, to discover the fund and partners. So it's very hard. Then once it comes to integration, it will be very easy for the setter to start withdraw the money and create a new future for whitening this illegal black money to be more legal money, and we're not able to make any legality traceability for this type of money. Then the ethics in terms of professional behavior issue, we said that this type of ethics does need to build a new knowledge of emerging technologies and digital issues, take into consideration to reduce risk of competencies and compromising to professional competencies and due care, combine process control with a strategic view, and evaluate the mechanism for reporting, for auditing reporting issues in ethical or unethical behavior, and that will reduce the risk for the purchase. So it's from a different part. We are working now on such a very bloody ocean. Otherwise, it's you have to take into consideration lots of points. Number one, the auditing task based on your own auditing objectives. Number two, technology and updating your digital profile, updating your compliance regarding to the legality environment. Number three, how can you create your own reimagination through you creating your own skills? What's the skills that I need in the next 5 years till the end of this scenario of pandemic? the pandemic financial crisis or financial crisis-based pandemic diseases. How can we create a new scenario for facing unexpected or turbulent environment? This is all the issues regarding to these 10 days. We explained it for all types of unexpected uncertainty environment through the platform for anti-money laundering. So anti-money laundering is such a financial crime that has been raised dramatically and take more issues. So the government will not find any other place to drag the intermediaries and concealing bodies and professional bodies like you to be one of those people who are commitment and have a compliance to file a report regarding to that. We did not find any professional, skillful, and professional body to catch all of those issues unless we have to deal with you. And on the other hand, the compliance bad side or black side, which defines the fines, it's raised up to 5 million dirham. So it's a battlefield. You need to achieve your own professionalism, ethical approach, competencies, and in order to continue in this market. Anyway, thank you so much indeed for your time. Thank you a lot for being with us. I want to thank a lot of people here, and the top of them, Mr. Alfred, for being with us. And
we thank you very much, Dr. Tariq. Well done. You've done a wonderful job.
Thank you so much.
You and your diligence and ethics, and you've been an ethical and professional gentleman.
Thank you so much. This is a
I did it right.
Yes, thank you so much indeed, Mr. Alfred. You have been one of those people who handle and all of those sessions through or behind the screen. Thank you so much indeed. Hopefully we can see you one time in the future. Before the pandemic and after finishing all of those issues, take care for all of those regulatory issues, and I'm sure that you have you are such a transformational leader who can move your followers for a better position in the future. You and your expert as well with that. Thank you so much indeed for all the expert with us. Hopefully I can see you again in the future time. Take care of yourself. If you have any question, I will be more than happy to ask them with Mr. Ahmed. Mr. Ahmed has an updated version for all of those slides. Please ask him about all of those sessions. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the near future. Inshallah.